Hello, my name is Paul Vousden, and I run a company called Corporate Counsel. I came to run this business, which is a business growth advisory company and also helps businesses to sell, by actually running my own business for many years. I started out, my first business was actually running a PR and marketing company, which I ran with a business partner for about 10 years. And then I sold that in a management buyout, which took about a year. Because these things take some time. And during that time, I worked for one of our clients on an interim basis. I didn't even know it was called interim management those days, but there we were. And so I actually helped them on a part-time basis, a day a week, and that soon grew into 5 days a week. So that was a very good way of segueing out of my agency and into a new career. So when I then finally sold the business, about a year later, I was able to go into an interim career. And I spent about 6 years, maybe 7 years, working in lots of big companies and a few smaller companies, but mainly very large organizations, just helping them with communications issues to begin with. And then several people said to me, "Oh, look, you've run your own business. Could you help us with that little unit over there? They're having a few problems." So I went over and did some turnaround and what have you. So that sort of led me to the seed of an idea that I could run a sort of consultancy doing this sort of work. And that's how Corporate Counsel was born. I think why I really enjoy helping business owners is having done it myself. And I remember when I started, my children were very young. It was a big leap of faith. I realized you learn a lot as you go through running a business, and I went through the 7 ages of man, or like the 7 ages of running a business, from actually startup, bootstrapping, right up to sales. So you realize there's lots of things on the way that, if you had your time over and if you actually had somebody along the journey with you, that would have helped. So it struck me that there is a real role to play, and it's very satisfying to see people and to help people to get to where they want to be. Because running a business can be a very lonely affair and can be quite tough, and you go through lots of issues and you're always fighting cash flow issues and staffing issues and goodness knows what. And knowing how to handle these things and having a sounding board there, somebody alongside you, I think is very satisfying. And so the client feedback I get is that people really value this, and it's something that really gives them a great sort of support and guidance really to get to where they want to go. Been very fortunate. Before I started my business, I had a corporate career in advertising actually, and I was very fortunate that I had a number of really good bosses who took time and gave me responsibility and mentored me and showed me how to do things, showed me how to write documents and all that sort of stuff. And I hadn't realized at the time, but I was actually learning an awful lot. And I worked in some very big brands like Unilever brands and Birdseye fish fingers and goodness knows what on the marketing side. And you learn a lot of really good disciplines. So I think all of that sort of stuff has helped. And I do think having a good boss, a good leader in any organization is absolutely crucial, because as somebody once said, it's great to feel somebody pushing up. And I think that's how business owners should look at key people around them, that, oh, that's good, they're pushing up. Not, well, I just want to keep them under control. A good leader lets the best out of people. COVID has obviously done lots of things to many people, and I think everyone's felt a big shock. What I have been doing, I've been working with a number of different organizations. Obviously, I'm helping a particular company come through this with a real rebound plan, and one of the aspects of that is looking overseas. And obviously what's combined with the COVID challenges has been Brexit. But it's easy to get overwhelmed by all this and thinking, oh my goodness, it's all going to fall through the skies. But actually, it's a great time to think outside the box and think outside of the UK. So I've been working with companies overseas. I've actually done quite a lot of work with a company based in Denver, Colorado, of all places. And I've never actually met them physically, but we've got a great relationship, and I'm helping them to open up their market here in the UK and wider in Europe and other markets. So I think the lesson for me has been you should widen your horizons, look out there, find new ways of finding new customers and new contacts. I'm doing quite a lot of work with early stage technology companies, and I find that really exciting because it's the future. And I'm working with two at the moment, which we have great hopes for. One is a company that does psychometric assessments using games, because that's the preferred method of millennials and other young people. But actually, contrary to popular thinking perhaps, or your immediate thoughts on that, the games actually generate much richer data than you would have got from a traditional form, surprisingly. And they're prepared by Cambridge University. So the provenance is absolutely, superb. But even the experts there are saying this is fantastic because we pick up so many different nuances from somebody playing a game. So we're looking to launch that next year to a wide public, both here in the UK and globally. I've learned to become a good listener. I think, as you say, it's going in and giving the client a good listening to is something that's actually very, very important. So often we're all doing, we tend to project and not actually listen to what people want. And it's a bit, I suppose, like being a bit of a psychologist. You understand what their motivations are, what got them to the business. And that's very exciting because you see what drove somebody. Sometimes it was necessity, other times it was a passion from their childhood perhaps, or it could be a family business that they've inherited. Once you understand the context of where people are in business and you know where they'd like to go or what their life ambitions are, you can start to sort of help them along that way. And I'm somebody who just enjoys meeting people, new people. I love entertaining and so on and so forth. So I often find many of my clients turn into friends, which I'm not sure is always necessarily the right thing to do, but it's a better way. You better understand people, what makes them tick and what makes them drive. We all have different stories, which is fascinating. I'm working for a number of organisations as corporate counsel, but also under different banners. And I've now been contacted by larger organisations who are looking for people like me who can help, businesses to grow and businesses that want to sell, actually. And I'm talking to a couple of organisations. And I'd like to think that corporate counsel can grow into something much bigger. Can't all be, as they say, physician, heal thyself. And, take your own advice. And I would like to scale it up. With a business like ours, it's a consultancy business, so you have to get the right people around you, and I'm beginning to do that. And I think if I can, find the right people in the right place, I think there is a real niche here, because so many people come in not really understanding business. They understand what they do. Often, I was talking to somebody recently, they're a group of engineers, and they kept saying, well, look, all this growth stuff, we're just engineers. We said, hang on, you've got a £3 million business. You're not just engineers, you are very successful at what you do. And it's making people understand that they have got these other skills, which perhaps they've just had to take on board in order to survive. So it's helping people along the way. It's amazing how many people actually don't realise, they don't know what they don't know, and that's where we help. And we hopefully fast track them to find. We have lots of different contacts who can help you to move things forward. And it's very good for the UK. I think now at the times we're in, we need businesses to grow. We need more jobs. We need more economic prosperity, and we need new jobs. We need new technologies. And again, that's very exciting. I think there's a massive opportunity with the sustainable environment and building an economy on the back of that. At the moment, it's probably quite early in that cycle, but we will get to a point where recycled goods will become a major, major part of our economy. Have a plan. As Winston Churchill used to say, it doesn't have to be a big plan. When he was running his, sort of emergency meetings, he'd say, give me the state of the war on one sheet of paper, A4. So that's the thing. It can be a really simple plan. We're here, we need to go there, and how are you going to get there? What are the smart objectives? It's amazing how many people think they have a plan and they have great ideas in their head, but actually, unless it's written down, it's just a wish list, and nothing's like winning the lottery, isn't it? You keep playing the lucky dips, hoping you'll win. You've got to actually have a clear demonstrable plan. I think the second thing is know when to let go. And know, actually, sometimes people start businesses and they think they have to do everything. They want to be control freaks. Actually, sometimes the business owner is not necessarily the best chief executive. And that can be a difficult conversation to have with some people. But if you look at some of the really successful companies like Microsoft, for example, Bill Gates realized quite early on that actually he didn't have a particularly strong affiliation with business. What he was good at was computer programming and solving problems. So he brought in Jeff Bellmer, I think it was, who became his management and business developer. And it was a great combination. So it's knowing, when to give up and knowing what you're good at and what your preferred, sort of way of working is. Where can you add most value to the business rather than saying I have to do everything. I suppose the third thing is the people. It's making sure that people are really engaged with what you do, and it's obviously your employees, but also your customers, getting to know them, treat them with respect. Particularly nowadays, I hear so many stories of people saying, well, I rang up a builder for a quote and, only one turned up, and then they didn't even bother to send me a quote. I mean, it's appalling. So be hungry, and be engaged with people. That's the minimum amount. As I think Woody Allen said, turning up is 90% of success. So make sure you turn up, make sure you're on time, make sure you show people you really want their business. Yeah, I'd like to thank lots of people I meet. I've come across some very, very supportive people, and obviously my family. They're our rocks, aren't they? Really, they're very important, and they stick with you through thick and thin. But I also like to thank my clients, because they're the ones who allow you to do what you do, and I get a great buzz out of seeing businesses grow, because it's a wonderful thing, and it can be done. Nothing's impossible if you put your mind to it.